name for you.
Yo, welcome back to the Underestimated Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Orr. Welcome back to episode 7, man. So, listen, the boxing world is pretty much on fire right now. Um, Even if you're not a regular boxing fan, if you're just a human living on this earth, you some way, somehow came across knowing that Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford fought a couple of days ago. I wasn't surprised about the outcome. I had Terrence Crawford as my winner for pretty much as I figured out the fight was done and set in stone to happen. So it wasn't a surprise there. Errol Spence said that he expected the fight to be a one-sided whooping. And it was a one-sided whooping. It just wasn't a one-sided whooping in his favor. But that kind of brings me to what this episode is going to kind of revolve around, and that's boxing. So a couple of episodes ago, I believe it was episode 4 or 5, may have been 4, where I did the top 10 pound for pound UFC fighters of 2023. Well, this is going to be the top 10 pound for pound fighters as far as boxing is concerned. So I want y'all to understand, this is my list. I'm not the type, when I do my list, it's not to satisfy the people or to satisfy what the world thinks. It's what I think, and y'all just have y'all opinionated statements about who I have where. So there are going to be guys that y'all probably think are deserving to be on this list that aren't going to be on this list, or you think is going to be higher on this list that I have lower, that you think should be higher. It's just going to be that with probably every list that I make. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to spot on every list that I make to y'all, but it's spot on in my opinion and in my eyes. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get it up underway. So, at number 10, now I know this dude has not boxed, I believe, since, if I'm not mistaken, October of 2022. But if we're talking about pound for pound, I still think he deserves the credibility to be in this conversation. And that is from the heavyweight division, Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder, as of now, currently stands at a record of 42 wins, 2 losses, and 1 no contest, with a orthodox stance, 42 KOs, which means every fight he won, well, no, technically he has 41 KOs and then 1 win by decision. So that pretty much means almost every fight that he won, he knocked him out. Deontay is probably one of my favorite boxers, not just of right now, but of all time. I just think Deontay is a different guy, and I can't wait to see him get back in the ring again with whomever it may be. Obviously, y'all know his nickname is the Bronze Bomber. As far as his accolades are concerned, he was the WBC heavyweight champion from 2015 to 2020 with 10 successful defenses. He was 2-time the Ring Magazine Round of the Year, the Ring Magazine Knockout of the Year in 2019 against Luis Ortiz, the Ring Magazine Fight of the Year in 2021 against Tyson Fury. He was Boxing Writers Association of America Fight of the Year in 2021 against Tyson Fury also. And he is tied for the 5th most consecutive heavyweight title defenses with 10, along with Muhammad Ali's second reign as the heavyweight champion. So when you think about Deontay Wilder is pretty much mostly known for his ability to move around in the ring, like his mobility inside of the ring, and to not waste his punches. He's very elusive and pretty efficient with his punches. You know, you can pretty much always expect Deontay to land a punch. Which pretty much kind of is a testament to his effectiveness also. He's also known for his power. Yeah, you won't expect Deontay to land his punches, but they're not gonna come light. They finna come heavy. Um, which kind of allows him to hurt any heavyweight with just one punch. No matter what heavyweight it is, he can kind of always beat them down with his efficient, strong-willed punches. And the dude's 6'7". You know, you see that height, and you thinking that's like the size of a typical shooting guard or small forward in the NBA. And if we want to bring it to football, that's like the average lineman in some cases, um, which just kind of gives a testament to his athleticism, which are kind of all factors that kind of contribute to his success. Um, because Wilder has a knockout to win ratio of 98%. I hear that? 98%. I think Deontay Wilder has simply um, been forgotten about, and I will not be the one to let that reign continue because Deontay Wilder is still one of those ones, regardless if he hasn't fought in close to over it or about a year. I just still think Deontay is still one of those guys, regardless of the situation. Um, and he also won the National Golden Gloves before taking the U.S. title and qualifying for the Olympics, where he won bronze. Okay, so now we move to number 9, which is one of my least favorite boxers ever. I just never liked this guy, but because to me, obviously from the eye test, and I mean from like a physical specimen standpoint, you don't expect this guy to be a boxer, but hey, a boxing, you know, by the hand. So anyway, also coming out of the heavyweight division, I got Tyson Fury. Um, 33 wins, no losses, one no contest. Um, obviously with an orthodox stance, 24 KOs, 9 decision wins. We all know his nickname is the Gypsy King. So I'm not 100% sure if Tyson Fury has a fight coming up. I think he does. I think I saw this morning that his brother Tommy is due for a fight against. I don't even remember who it is now. Or it might be, is it KSI? I'm not really sure, but oh well, from this was like Tyson Fury isn't gonna fight soon or whatever. Um, well, anywho, I'll say that Tyson Fury is kind of known for his mindset. There is no one who can tell him that he can't win or fight or can't beat a particular opponent. Like he's kind of fearless. He'll go in there with pretty much anybody but God, you know. And when it comes to punching, there are very few who do it better than Tyson Fury. Like I said, I don't like the guy, but when it comes to athletes, especially with me now being a podcaster and a growing analyst, I have to give the guys their props, regardless of how much I may not like them as an individual. Um, punches are only part of what makes Tyson Fury good. You know, fast footwork isn't something you usually associate with heavyweights, but once again, Fury breaks the mold there too. Um, Fury's defensive IQ has been praised around the boxing world for pretty much a while now. I think it could be better. I mean, but of course, like no boxer is perfect. Anybody can always get better. But I think as far as the defense goes, it's not underrated or overrated. I think it gets the recognition it deserves. But I believe it definitely could be better. As far as his accolades are concerned, though, he was the WBA Super World Heavyweight Champion, the WBC World Heavyweight Champion, WBO World Heavyweight Champion, and the IBF World Heavyweight Champion. Okay, so moving on to number 8. Oh, another thing. You know, like usually when I make these lists and I put two people who fought or went up against each other in their respective sport as I'm doing my list, usually the person that wins, um, I always put above the other one or the guy that they beat because I think that's like, you know, living proof of him being better in a sense. I mean, obviously I know that just because you win doesn't simply make you better. You just, you know, got you on that specific time. But that's kind of what I did here. Because if I was just going off of, you know, my personal preference, of course I would have put Deontay over Tyson Fury. But we all know that Tyson beat Deontay like twice or three times. So it would be pretty arrogant to put Deontay above Tyson. But at number 8, I got David the Mexican Nightmare Benavidez. David Benavidez is from the middleweight division, currently with a record of 27-0, with a orthodox stance, standing with 23 KOs and 4 wins by the way of decision. His accolades include WBC World Super Middleweight Interim Champion, 2-time WBC Super Middleweight Champion, and he is the youngest Super Middleweight Champion holder in the history of the division title itself. So, as far as his punching goes, he is pretty much best well known for his accuracy as far as his punches go. And in most eyes, you know, me included, he is the most accurate puncher in the 168-pound division. I don't think there's any other puncher that kind of comes close in the margin as far as punching accuracy goes, in comparison to David Benavidez. I like David Benavidez a lot. I think if you go look around at most lists from trusted boxing sources and websites, you might not see David Benavidez crack any lists, but he's gonna crack mine. After he did what he did to Caleb Plant in that dog fight in one of the toughest and most entertaining fights of the year, it would be an atrocity to not put him on this list, in my opinion. And I feel like 8 is right where you should be at because, you know, I don't want to put him. I think in comparison to the guys that I have above him, I think he's right where he needs to be. So I don't think he, you know, needs to be any higher, any lower. He's one of my favorite guys to watch. So I think if you're not a fan of him now, you definitely should be. Or if you weren't a fan of him before, you should be now. Kind of just has that suave, you know, Mexican swagger to him. I just like the guy a lot. David Benavidez is one of my favorite fighters right now. And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. So moving on to number 7, I got one of the twin Charlo brothers, Mr. Jermell Charlo from the light middleweight division. Currently standing with a record of 35-1-1. Oh, excuse me, Jermell Iron Man Charlo. With the orthodox stance, with 19 KOs and 16 wins via decision. Jermell has proven he has the better overall skill than his brother. His defensive skills are extremely impressive, and his footwork and head movement help him to sort of avoid dangerous situations. You know, he kind of bob and weave with some of the best of them. And I mean, that's what you do when you box. You stick and you move, and obviously he sticks and moves very, very well. Actually, with the best in the game. Jamil is also a great counter puncher and countering often with his furious left hook. Also, if y'all want to help me with some information, can y'all maybe put in the comments which Charlo brother? It might have been Jamil. I'm not 100% sure as I didn't hear it. But which Charlo brother was it that was getting interviewed prior to the Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence fight? Because I was trying to figure it out. They look so much alike. I couldn't tell them apart. But yeah, if y'all can figure that out for me, let me know, and it'll be greatly appreciated. But as far as his accolades are concerned, he is the current undisputed light middleweight world champion. He was the former WBC Continental America Super Welterweight champion and the USBA Super Welterweight champion. Now let's move to number 6. Oh, I actually did this again. Now this one's actually tricky because it hasn't happened yet. But at 6, I have also from the light middleweight division, Canelo Alvarez. And as y'all know, very, very soon, Canelo and Iron Man Charlo are supposed to, go at it. So if my list is correct, then I guess now if y'all ask me who I have predicting this fight, well, predicting to win this fight, I don't know. I want to say the safe answer would be Canelo, but we're not gonna really get into that. I wanted to do a prediction of kind of all the UFC and boxing fights, but kind of all the good ones are kind of slipping away. So I think I'm just gonna do is like towards the end of the year, I'm just gonna do like a recap of everything and give my thoughts with certain fights. So yeah, because I kind of missed out on all the other ones. But anyway, number 6 is Canelo, man. Currently with a record of 59 wins, 2 losses, and 2 no contests. With the orthodox stance, with 39 KOs and 20 decision wins. Obviously, we know his nickname is Canelo, which actually means cinnamon. So if you want to put that together, his name would be Canelo Cinnamon Alvarez. Now his accolades, because we know Canelo been around for a minute, his accolades are pretty long, so hang tight. Starting off with the WBC World Light Middleweight Champion. He was a WBA World Light Middleweight Champion, Lineal Middleweight Champion of the World, Ring Magazine Middleweight Champion of the World, WBC World Middleweight Title, WBO World Light Middleweight Champion title, 2-time Ring Magazine Middleweight Champion of the World, 2-time WBC World Middleweight Title Champion, WBA Super World Middleweight Title, IBF World Middleweight Title, WBO World Light Heavyweight Title, Ring Magazine Super Middleweight Champion of the World, WBA Super World Middleweight title, WBC World Super Middleweight title, WBO World Super Middleweight title, and IBF Super World Super Middleweight title. That was a lot. I mean, now we're kind of getting to a list where it's like almost interchangeable to a certain standpoint. Because I mean, do I really have to sit here and go on and on about who Canelo Alvarez is? We know who Canelo Alvarez is. Um, Dude, Showtime. I can't wait to see him and Charlo go at it. I'm definitely gonna be tuned in for that. Um, like I said, as of right now, y'all hearing it here first. So yeah, when the fight happens and y'all come back to this episode, y'all will hopefully be able to justify that I picked the fight with the right person coming out on top, with that being Canelo. But this is a fight I wouldn't mind seeing more than once. So if they were to go at it again at some point, I wouldn't mind it, of course. But Canelo loves to lure and bait his foes into making mistakes using a combination of feints and traps to force them to commit. Canelo doesn't mind taking calculated defensive risk in order to execute his offense and counters with the highest probability of success. What truly separates Canelo from other fighters is that his superior ring intelligence is just not even gonna lie. He's probably, from a overall IQ standpoint, the smartest boxer on this list. I'm not even gonna lie. Just like from movement to defense to offense to counters to all of the tools and attributes acclimated into what makes a boxer great. I think Canelo is the most well equipped out of every boxer on this list. Okay, so now we have officially cracked into the top five of the list. Like I said, we kind of reached a point of the list where everything sort of gets to interchangeable stage. So pretty much anybody, I feel like you can put 1 through 5 here, and you would not be wrong, being as that you would also have a decent argument to back up who you have where. But as far as my list goes, at number 5, I have Devin the Dream Haney from the lightweight division with a record of 30-0. He has a orthodox stance with now 15 KOs and 15 decision wins. So I'm gonna be honest, Devin Haney is another one of those boxers who I'm not necessarily a fan of, but a boxer or just athlete I will give my props to. Devin Haney has displayed a very strong commitment to continuous improvement in his repertoire and him as being portrayed as an overall boxer, um, alongside with the fact that he's been facing top level competition. And while I got it on my mind still, I noticed this episode may never, or if it does, it'll be way later down the line, cross Devin Haney or Shakur Stevenson. But can y'all boys please get your stuff together so we can see y'all go at it? I need to see it, dog. We need to see that Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney fight. I need to see that. So get the stuff together, the legal stuff and the financial stuff together so we can see that fight. But moving forward, he has earned a um, Devin has earned a reputation as a skilled and technically gifted fighter, known for his defensive prowess, also his ring generalship, and ability to dictate the pace of the fight. You know, it's kind of like the Luka Doncic or Jason Tatum, Chris Paul of boxing. He can kind of just dictate the fight at his own pace, and it's gonna force you into fighting at his pace, his time, his speed, all in one to pretty much gain full control of the fight. One of Devin's primary reasons that kind of dictates towards his successful streak as a boxer is his defensive skill set. I think he's probably, as far as my list is concerned, a top three from a defensive standpoint boxing defender in my list. I think maybe you put him right behind Canelo. I'm not exactly sure. It's another guy I got coming up. I think maybe number two, so I probably put him three. That's what I just saw him do recently, but I ain't gonna spoil anything. I'll get to him when I get to him. He's able to shoulder roll, use waist movement, roll hooks, and slip punches, all as great assets to his overall defensive skill set. Like I said, I'm not really that big of a fan of him, but the dude is entertaining the Showtime box office, and he definitely gives the fans a show when he's in that ring. So I'm really hoping that we get to see a Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney fight soon. But moving forward to number four. Now, I have 4 and 3 as two people you obviously that I mentioned earlier in the beginning of the episode. And my friend was like, um, after this fight, you're gonna change your list. Are you probably going to change the list? I was like, no. Regardless of the outcome of the list, of the fight, I'm not gonna change my list. And the fight that we were referring to was the Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence fight. That being said, at number 4 from the welterweight division, I have Errol Spence Jr. Man, that fight the other day was something. I don't know what it is, but it seemed like the tone can honestly be set from the walkout, in my opinion. Like once, like if you have a fire walkout, I just feel like that sets the tone of the fight before you even step in the ring. Now I have no, I mean, also yeah, give me a heads up on that too if y'all know who that rapper was that walked Errol Spence out. I heard he was from Texas, which is where Errol Spence is from as well. But I was like, after that, I was like, no, there's no way. Because I know there's plenty of other rappers and artists from Texas that are big name artists that could have brought him out. This is a fight that is, debatably the fight of the decade. And I mean, I respect it, bringing an underground rapper out to walk you out to show your loyalty to your, where you come from. But that's just not something you probably should have done in this particular fight. And then once you see Terrence walk out with Eminem, I mean, that was that was that was pretty legendary, and it fit the bill for the stakes of that fight. But back to Errol Spence, currently with a record of 28-0. Well, actually 28-1 now. Just lost to Terrence Crawford. Has a southpaw stance with 22 KOs and 6 decision wins. Obviously, the nickname is The Truth. Errol, The Truth, Spence Jr. Errol Spence is a very effective and economical boxer with a very economical boxing style. Being in southpaw, he uses this to. I'm sorry, I'm going a little bit above. Okay, he primarily uses his aggressive pressure with a jab to set up a straight left hand to the head of the body. But being a southpaw, he uses this to his advantage against orthodox fighters who tend to struggle. So this was my thing. I'm watching the fight the other night with a friend of mine who's pretty much a boxing expertise and who kind of gives me a hand with the boxing work. I'm not too in tune of it. But, I'm getting there. I'm learning. But just looking at them stand, um, just from his body language, to me, it seems like Errol Spence has a very odd stance. And I just was like, no way this guy box like this. I mean, I know everybody doesn't particularly have the same exact stance, from top to bottom, but it just seems like his is pretty unorthodox. But obviously it's gotten him this far, so who am I to say anything about it? As far as his accolades are concerned, though, he was the IBF welterweight champion, WBC welterweight champion, and WBA welterweight champion. So, moving on to number 3. Y'all should know who this is. From the welterweight division, I have Mr. Terrence Bud Crawford, currently now with a record of 40-0, southpaw stance with 30 KOs and 9 decision wins, with 31 KOs now. Man, what can we say about TC? Terrence Crawford is best known for his punching power, fast hand speed, ring IQ, counter punching ability, and defensive skills. I think, he's probably the best defensive fighter on this list. I would probably go him, Canelo, then Dev. It is such an honor and privilege, and it's just so much fun to watch Terrence Crawford portray his craft in the ring. It's phenomenal. I definitely hope that Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence get it done for a rematch. A lot of people, I think, from the way the first one went, don't want to see a second one. But me personally, I still want them to go back at it. I actually predicted the whole trilogy. I thought Terrence was gonna get the first one. I thought Errol would come back for vengeance and get the second one, and Terrence would get the third one. From what I know, if y'all don't know, to give y'all a little bit of an insight, the potential possibility of there being a successful second fight rematch is pretty high. Errol said that he wants to do it at 154. Terrence had initial plans to move up in weight anyway, so he was pretty much in agreement to that. But the way their rematch clause works, this is something I found out the other day as well, is that the winner gets to choose the weight of the fight, which would be Terrence, and the loser has to actually activate the rematch clause. So basically saying that they can both come in agreement to the terms of the weight, then a rematch is pretty much set in stone. So we could potentially be seeing a rematch between the two of them, probably I believe somewhere in December, which would be a great way to end off 2023 by seeing them go back at it again. And that will give Errol a chance to redeem himself from a walkout standpoint. But Terrence Crawford it's kind of tough for me to say this now that he's not my number one on this list, but probably the best pound for pound fighter in the boxing world. Um, I just got a lot of faith and hope in the guy that I have number one. Um, but accolades, we all know that Terrence was the WBO World Welterweight Champion, but obviously he has all four of the belts now from taking the ones from Errol Spence. Um, but yeah, let's knock the last two on out. So at number two from the featherweight division, I have Mr. Shakur Stevenson with a current record of 20-0. Has a southpaw stance with 10 knockouts and 10 decision wins. His name is Shakur Sugar Stevenson. Now, I don't know if y'all remember, but y'all saw me kind of give many reactions to the nicknames of the UFC fighters. I'm just like, I don't think that's bad, though. I mean, we had Sugar Ray Leonard. That's one of the best of all time. So, Sugar Stevenson. I think I would have went with something like probably Showtime. Shakur Showtime Stevenson. I think that probably would have been better. But anyway, it's him, not me. He wants to be Sugar. He can be Sugar. Shakur Stevenson is pretty much best well known for his quickness, defense, punching skills, ring IQ, and punching power. He is the current IBF featherweight champion. WBC featherweight champion and WBO and NABO featherweight champion. Yeah, let me say this again since now I'm on Shakur. Get the deal done. We wanna see you and Devin go at it. So stop trying to overestimate y'all egos, put them to the side, get the deal done, so you can get the fans what they want, including myself, and that is a great fight. Or another great fight this year. I actually saw, I don't know if it was a TikTok or an Instagram reel this morning that said that, well, it was Shakur Stevenson talking for himself, saying that he would look to fight Tank Davis, Devin Haney, and someone else in the future as his future opponents. And I was thinking, like, that is interesting because me personally, I do want to see at some point in their careers Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, and Tank Davis all fight each other at least once. It doesn't have to be for a title or anything, but I just want to see them all go at it at least one time. I just think us as boxing fans are very well deserving of seeing those three get it in with each other at least once. But that now brings me to number one on my pound for pound list. I know this is going to be very controversial, but let me tell y'all this. Y'all can tell me y'all definitions of what pound for pound means in the comments. But I think when I think of pound for pound, I think of no matter how these two competitors match up from a weight perspective, if I put you in the boxing ring, I'm gonna have this particular guy there every time. And y'all could say I am extremely wrong and I don't know anything about boxing, but just me personally, this is my favorite boxer right now. And I just feel like my life on the line, and I, got to pick somebody to go in there and take on the best of the best and give him the hopes of winning. I'm going with this guy. That guy being from the lightweight division, Gervonta Tank Davis. Tank has a current record of 29-0 with a southpaw stance, currently with 27 KOs and 2 decision wins. Um, Obviously, even though Tank is relatively small, I mean, you can say what you want. I just have that kind of faith in Tank. Obviously we know that he's 5'8". But looking at him, he's a big 5'8". He's not a small five. A stick 5'8". He's a big 5'8". Um, some of Tank's best attributes as it pertains to an overall boxer are his counter punches. I think Tank is. I mean, I have to pretty much say this now. He's the best counter puncher on this list. Um, his power and his smoothness in the ring. He just moves around the ring at a very elegant style, I guess you would say. Um, his defensive skills and his knockout ability are very underrated, but I know what they about. Even though with the guys I named earlier, I probably would have to put him from a defensive standpoint. Um, Probably number 4 behind Devin. So he is also known for a very strong chin. I think Tank has taken some really hard punches and kind of they haven't had um, a huge effect on him. But yeah, I got Tank number 1. Uh, Obviously, I know that many people are going to be very in disagreement with that statement, but that's what I expect with every list that I make. Nobody's going to always agree with me head on, disagree with me head on. So it's all part of the business. But as far as his accolades are concerned, he is the current WBA Super World Lightweight Champion and former WBA Regular World Lightweight Champion, former IBF Super Featherweight Champion. But without further ado, that is wraps for this episode of my ranking of the top 10 pound for pound boxers of 2023. I appreciate you guys listening or watching. We'll be back with episode 8 on Wednesday. Once again, I appreciate you guys for all the love and support. You guys continue to have a wonderful Monday. All love. And always remember, don't underestimate, appreciate. And without further ado, I'm gone.